What's going on, everyone? So it looks like Dejounte Murray's time with the Atlanta Hawks is coming to an end. The Atlanta Hawks are expected to trade Dejounte Murray by the trade deadline. It looks like they're probably going to trade everybody except for Trae Young and Johnson. Those are the two guys that they want to build around. And Dejounte Murray, his time with the Atlanta Hawks has been quite unfortunate. I fully believe he's an excellent player. I do think in the right situation, he can make a real impact and kind of get back to San Antonio Dejounte Murray. There are a couple issues with Dejounte. One, his whole career never been a great finisher around the rim. He has been an excellent just shot maker this season. He's in like the 75 percentile, 80 percentile. And just being a difficult shot maker is another big thing. Also this season from 3-point range, he has really shot the ball well from three. He's still extremely young. He's 27 years old. So he's got plenty of upside. 6'5" in height, athletic, explosive, 6'10" wingspan. This was a guy that was an all-defensive guard just a couple years ago. Problem is that since then and since coming to Atlanta, his defense has been terrible. His defense has really dropped. So the hope is that any team that trades for him, he could kind of get back to that. He has gotten better off the ball, but he's still not great. Like, he is still best. Put the ball in his hands, let him be a point guard, let him be a playmaker, and I believe that he can fully make an impact in the right situation. So there are several teams that are interested in acquiring Dejounte Murray, and several teams that actually do make a lot of sense for Dejounte Murray, and I kind of want to go over some of those teams. Of course, I want to hear your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. Also, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Let's get into it. First team, San Antonio Spurs. So this is the team that traded Dejounte Murray to Atlanta and absolutely fleeced Atlanta based on just the result, right? It's been 2 years, and they're looking to trade maybe even back to San Antonio for probably less than they got him for. It's kind of funny that San Antonio traded Dejounte Murray and ended up getting Victor Wembanyama, which is incredible, and now are at a position to where it's like they actually need and could have used Dejounte Murray this year because they really need a point guard. They really need a playmaker. They really need somebody that can get the ball to Victor Wembanyama. But in the same breath, they probably never got Victor if Dejounte Murray was there. Because, I mean, you're talking about a guy that became an all-star, an all-defensive team type guy with the San Antonio Spurs. But Dejounte Murray, if you're the Spurs, does make a lot of sense, right? Gives you a guy that can play make. You can immediately put him in his natural position, which is the point guard, to where he can make some plays and just be a guy that looks to go get, again, Victor Wembanyama buckets. And it would just be so easy, right? Dejounte Murray's best season as far as assists go was his last year with San Antonio right before the Atlanta trade, in which he averaged 9.2 assists per game. I think alongside Victor Wembanyama, he could easily get back to that. San Antonio is one of the, I just think, best natural spots for him. And since he is 27 years old, he kind of still fits that timeline, right? It also gives you a veteran, gives you a guy that can kind of like, you add some maturity to the room. Now I'm not saying Dejounte Murray is anywhere close to SGA, but look at like what SGA and Chet are able to combine for, right? And how well those two are able to work as a pairing, right? I could see similarities with Dejounte Murray, that explosive guard that can get buckets, make plays, and then pair him alongside that big man. I think Dejounte Murray with the San Antonio Spurs make a ton of sense. Next up, the Miami Heat. Again, another team that I think could make a lot of sense. Ultimately, when it comes to all of these teams that I'm going to mention, is like, what do the trades package look like? What do these teams have to give up? Because you got to keep in mind, Atlanta, they gave up, 3 firsts and a pick swap for Dejounte? So they're going to want something of value in return. But Miami, they're probably not getting rid of Jaquez, and they're probably not trading Tyler Hero, is my guess. I mean, they didn't want to trade Tyler Hero and the Dame trade, so I don't imagine that they would do it for Dejounte Murray. However, maybe they look at it like, hey, we don't really want to mess around. We don't really want to play games. He does make sense in Miami. I personally think Miami should wait for like a Donovan Mitchell or, see, Miami's one of those teams where, like, yes, I think Dejounte Murray as their point guard, kind of the guy to piece it together, especially if he can get back to that, like, all defensive guard, I think would be huge for Miami. But I personally think that they need a more just like natural gifted scorer, right? Like Tyler Hero can go get buckets, but like he's a shooter more than just like a scorer, like a bucket getter, right? Like they need somebody, in my opinion, like a Damian Lillard, a Donovan Mitchell, even kind of Zach LaVine, right? Like there's two teams that I think make a ton of sense for Zach LaVine. That's the Lakers and the Heat. Just because both of those teams could really use just like a gifted just bucket, right? Now, Dejounte Murray can be a bucket. He's a guy that can absolutely go get buckets. But again, he could be limited, right? Again, not a great rim finisher, which is not good. And then also, does the three-point shooting continue, right? Like that's a real concern because again, he is shooting brilliant from three. He is shooting this season from three-point range on 6.1 attempts, which is the most of his career. He is shooting almost 40%. He's shooting 39.7% to be exact from three-point range, which is ridiculous. But every year besides this year, he has shot basically 34% or worse, right? You go through the years, he shot 34.4%, 32.7%, 31.7%, 36.9%, which that isn't terrible, but that was only 1.7 attempts. And then his first 2 years, he didn't even take one attempt per game, but he did shoot 26.5% and then 39%, so 40% almost. But again, it was 0.6 attempts per game. So that was before he really started shooting threes at all. But basically, since he started taking 3 threes per game, he's basically been a 30 to 34% three-point shooter. So the concern is like at some point, does that regress? It's a concern. But if he can continue to do that, then I think that definitely that would help. Give Miami a little more shooting, give them some playmaking, somebody that could just go get assists, get everybody going, set everybody up, especially if he can get back to that point of attack defender. I think that he'd definitely be an upgrade over like Kyle Lowry. But I kind of feel like there's a part of me that's like, I think he makes a lot of sense, but I would rather see Miami wait for like that bigger prize, like the bigger impact guy. Because Dejounte Murray is good, but where is he as far as like the rankings go, right? Like, he's not a top 20 player, he's a top 25 player. I don't think so. Maybe top 30 player. I'd rather them try to go get that bigger impact guy and really push for a championship. But again, love to hear thoughts and opinions. The Knicks, right? So the Knicks make a lot of sense to me as far as Dejounte Murray goes, because like, yes, you have Jalen Brunson, right? And Jalen Brunson is basically the point guard. Jalen Brunson is a smaller point guard. And yes, Dejounte Murray struggles off ball. But personally, and this is just me, I would move Jalen Brunson to the 2 guard and then have Dejounte Murray as your point guard and just basically tell Brunson like, hey, just go be a bucket. Don't worry so much about playmaking and just go get buckets, right? Now, there is concern of Dejounte Murray next to Julius Randle because Julius Randle has the ball a lot in his hands, right? And would Jalen Brunson be able to kind of adjust to playing more off ball? However, he did play next to Luka, but he also emerged when Luka went down, right? Like That's when he kind of became who he was. But he had that year in Dallas where he played shooting guard the entire time and averaged 16 points per game, 5 assists, 4 rebounds, right? I think with the Knicks, he's 25, almost 26 points per game right now. Like, I could see him getting to 30 if he didn't have to focus so much on playmaking, where he could just you basically, I mean, he already has the green light, but you get my point. Like, let Dejounte run and operate the offense and be your point guard and your playmaker, and then just let Jalen Brunson just focus on getting buckets, right? Like, he's taking 19 attempts per game. Right? Bump that up to 22 or something, right? Like, hey, go take 2 or 3 more attempts, right? Instead of getting, 6 assists, go get 4 and take a couple more shots. Right? Like, I think that you could make that work. Also, again, if Dejounte Murray can get back to being that on-ball defender and be that elite on-ball defender, that would be huge for the Knicks. Because, now you'd have that point of attack defensive guard alongside OG Anunoby. When Mitchell Robinson comes back, now you got that shot blocking, rebounding center. The Knicks would be tough. Because it's what else do the Knicks really need? Right? Could they turn, there's a part of me that's if you could turn Julius, if you could trade Julius Randle and upgrade him into Siakam or something, I think that would be great, right? But another option would be you either get a 2 guard or you get a guy like Dejounte Murray and you move Brunson to the 2 guard. And you let Dejounte Murray play the point. Brunson's now your 2, at least on the offensive side. On defensive side, you can kind of keep it that. I mean, you just put Dejounte Murray on the best guard on the other team is basically what it is, right? And then Brunson defends whoever, right? And then OG's probably taking the best assignment anyway. So, I don't know. I do personally like the idea of him going to the Knicks. But, again, love to hear your thoughts and opinions. Let me know. All right. The Lakers. Now, many of you, I'm sure, are aware, I have a Laker channel. I am a Laker fan. I almost decided to leave the Lakers off of this video, but I was like, no, we're talking about the teams and the destinations, and look, the Lakers are a real destination, so I was like, let's talk about it. For those that aren't aware of my Laker channel, As It Stands Lakers, go subscribe to As It Stands Lakers. Obviously, subscribe to this channel as well, but go look at As It Stands Lakers. It's all Laker content. So if you're a Laker fan, not subscribed to that channel, go subscribe to that channel. But diving into it. Look, I am more team Zach LaVine than I am Dejounte Murray for the Lakers. I have concerns about the fit with Dejounte Murray and the Lakers. Now, look, Dejounte Murray is an upgrade over the guards that the Lakers have right now. I do think he makes them better, but I do have questions of how much better. Because, as I mentioned earlier, Dejounte Murray has a couple just issues and weaknesses, and those weaknesses the Lakers can't really afford, right? So Dejounte Murray, again, has not been good off the basketball. And the Lakers have LeBron James. And yes, Dejounte Murray will have opportunities on the ball, but as long as you have LeBron James, the ball goes through LeBron James. Very rarely is there an offensive possession where LeBron does not touch the basketball. And you look at LeBron James has wanted to play off ball since the bubble in which the Lakers won the championship. The problem is that LeBron has not played off ball. And the Lakers have cycled through point guards to try to get somebody to play on ball for LeBron James, and it just hasn't worked. Right? They tried Dennis Schroeder the first time. Then they went and got Russell Westbrook, and that was a disaster. Right? And then they went and got D'Angelo Russell, who has been the best so far because he's actually been very good off ball. But all these guys basically have just been the initiators, and then they initiate the offense, they get the ball to LeBron, and then they're running several possessions off ball. if you get Dejounte Murray, you have to let him play point guard. If you're getting Dejounte Murray to have him play off ball 90% of the time, then what's the point of getting Dejounte Murray? You might as well just go get Zach LaVine, is my thoughts. Also, I don't know how realistic Dejounte Murray is for the Lakers, just because I think the other teams that I've mentioned, they just have more assets and could just outbid the Lakers. And will the Lakers give up Austin Reeves? That's a real question. But in a perfect world, he makes perfect sense, right? Point of attack, defensive guard. Again, he's struggled defensively, which is bad. And he's been worse defensively than D'Angelo Russell. So it's like, and he's not as good. He's not historically as good of a shooter. He's been really good this year. But, that's my concern, is like, how much of an upgrade is he over D'Lo alongside LeBron? I'm not saying that he's not a better player, but I'm talking about like fit-wise, right? And so, but you think of it on the surface, it's like, okay, if he can get back to that all-defensive guy, the Lakers have zero athleticism at the guard position and point-of-attack defender. That gives him, the Lakers get that with Dejounte Murray. If he can continue to shoot 40%, that would be massive for the Lakers, because when he does play off ball, right, he can knock down the shot. And can he improve at finishing at the rim? If that can happen, then that would be great. But I do have my concerns, right? Out of all these teams, I kind of lean towards, like I said, the Knicks. I really like the Knicks. And the Heat, I'm kind of iffy on, right? Like I said, I think it could work, but I'd rather the Knicks kind of go for that bigger push. The Lakers, again, I think is a real question mark. If the Lakers are getting Dejounte Murray and something else, then I think that makes more sense. But just Dejounte Murray by himself, kind of not sold on the idea personally. But I do think in the right situation, again, I think Dejounte Murray can thrive. And personally, I think that right situation is San Antonio. I think if he was going to go anywhere, or if he had his pick of the litter, I think he should pick San Antonio. If I remove my Laker bias, right? Which it probably doesn't really sound like Laker bias, because I've kind of talked about the opposite, right? But I think San Antonio makes the most sense, because him and Victor kind of get to be the 1-2 punch. The Spurs need a real point guard desperately. And when Murray has the opportunity to play point guard, there's very few in the league that have been better than him when he actually gets to play. So, but anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I pass the question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? Do you like the idea of Dejounte Murray on any of the teams that I mentioned? Is there another team that I should have mentioned? Again, how do you feel? Whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me out a lot. Lets me know you enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Now subscribe to the channel. Hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one.